Hey, we're live.
Hello, hello.
Happy Overseas Sundays with
Yeah,
another
back at it
one.
again.
Yeah,
Woo-hoo.
we're going to America this time. We've got
Yeah.
a Siren Apparatus, a top glass blower from America. So, hello, Siren. Oh, and the
Oh,
dog.
I love
Hello,
it.
everybody. This is Bella.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Go,
beautiful,
go, go,
Bella.
go,
Special
go.
guest.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much for joining us to begin with.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for
So,
having me.
tell us how you got into the glass blowing. What did you do? Like, obviously, you weren't blowing rigs all your life.
Um, I was in college and I bought a bong through the mail, just some random Chinese bong. I didn't even know the difference between American glass and import glass and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it looked pretty cool, but it broke by the time it got to me. Well, my girlfriend at the time actually opened it and then swore when she got back from the store that it was just on the floor. So I'll never know if she had a little accident or not, but
Yeah.
that spawned this little quest to get it fixed because just like a lot of customers, I just thought I could send a bong and like six different pieces to someone and they could just stick it all back together like glue, right?
Yeah.
And I was able to meet a marble maker that said hell no. I was like, fuck. But he knew a pipe maker, so I gave him my number. He gave me the pipe maker's number, and that dude's name was Ronnie Chavez, goes by the artist name Crondo619. And the first day I went to his house, he was making this crazy upline fumey bubbler with the percolator was a skull where the smoke was coming through the mouth and the face, and I'd never seen anything like that in my life. I was
Yeah.
like, holy shit. So he didn't fix my bong, but I was just like hypnotized from the start. So I would just go to his house every single day and watch him, and that led to me just getting my own little tiny torch. I'd plug it into his Y connectors, which were just like adapters from his torch, and I would literally sit on the ground cross-legged pulling stuff out of his garbage because his glass blowers, something's like this long where a lot of times they're just gonna throw it away, um, instead of putting like a handle and getting that much more out of it. But when you're brand new, like you could stick 10 of those little pieces together and have enough for like one spoon, right? So
Yeah.
all my first pieces were just sitting in the dark basically. Whenever he'd do this big annealing flame, I'd try to work faster because I'd be able to see way better. I remember that. And finally, like I got my own little shop in an apartment. Um, I made the whole setup out of styrofoam board, which I don't recommend.
Yeah,
It
no,
was
not
Yeah.
over.
with
So,
torches
It
and
was
shit.
it was over carpet.
Jesus.
Um,
This is
yeah,
asking for fire.
yeah. I didn't get my deposit back. That's for sure. When marbles go flying from bad punties, like it doesn't set anything on fire, just instantly just turns to dust whatever it touches. So there were these racetrack marks all across my carpet.
Oh,
And
shit.
is this too long of an explanation? Because
No,
No,
I
keep
love
going. Keep
it.
okay,
This is
going.
what you're here.
all,
Share your story.
all right. So my senior year in college, I changed my major so much that I was just getting a general at like a general studies degree, which basically means I took a bunch of classes that don't really have like a specific purpose and they're just general studies. So I had everything I needed except for a few electives, which is just like you could take anything, but it doesn't matter. You just need those numbers, right? And there was this program where you could make your own internship, like write your own syllabus and propose it.
Oh, nice.
And I learned about scientific glass from Ronnie, the dude that I first saw blow glass. Because whenever he'd make a good seal or something fancy, he'd be like, "This shit's scientific right here, Chris." And I was like, oh, okay, like what does that mean? Or he'd be spinning the glass. He's like, "I'm a human lathe, bitch. I'm a human lathe." And I'm like, "What the fuck's a lathe?" And I'm like trying to Laith. He's like, "No, it's Lathe." He's like, "That makes some sense." And so I googled it, right, and it turned out there's a scientific glass blower like 8 miles from where I was at a different college, and I called them up, and basically I made a little class out of it where I got a couple credits from my college to drive to his glassblowing studio and just learn some basics of
So you,
scientific
the
glass
class you
blowing.
made up, you were able to go to this guy and just learn and get credits for it.
Yeah, yeah, it
That's
was
it.
really cool. And I was like, well, let me double down on that shit. I went and talked to Ronnie, Crondo 619, awesome glass blower. He was making stuff in his garage like most of us do. And I was like, bro, do you have like a business card or something? So you have this one Crondo Classics, it says, and I made a class out of that too. I was able to get that business card and make a whole professional letterhead and shit, so it looked like he had this legit corporation. And I was like, I also want to intern from to Crondo Classics. So going over and smoking weed and hanging out at his house too, I was getting college credit
That's the
for it.
best class ever.
Nice. But look where it's
And
landed you.
so through that, through the scientific class specifically, David, he was like in his probably 60s at the time, so he'd been in it for good 40 years or something. And he told me about this thing called an ASGS conference. It's Scientific Glassblowers Conference. All the scientific glassblowers from all over the country go in one place, different place every year, but this year it was only going to be a couple hours from us, so he really encouraged me to go. We went on the road trip and learned about Salem Community College because everybody there was like, "Whoa, what year were you? What year were you? What class shop were you in?" And it was just a given. Like all these old dudes, they all went to Salem Community College, and I'd never fucking heard of that before. And turns out it's this little college in South Jersey, not even in Salem. It's in like Carney's Point, but very very South Jersey, close to Philly, and that's like the hub of scientific glass. That's where chem glass is, and uh, uh, you know all of them. I can't think of any other specific names right now because I had a late night. But like yeah, that was like the hub, right? So I ended up just saying fuck it and graduating college with my general studies degree and moving across the country in my car to go to Salem Community College. And I had some financial aid left over, just barely enough to get me through a year and a half. And I was getting my warning letter like, you don't have financial aid anymore. We're about to kick you out after like when the fourth semester started. And I just happened to get a job like right then where I was able to get pulled out early anyway. And that's what moved me down to Tennessee to work for Wilmad Lab Glass, which is also, I should have remembered that name because they're also headquartered out of South Jersey.
Okay.
And here in Kingsport, Tennessee, we have the world headquarters for Eastman Chemical, which is like they make a lot of chemicals and like precursors that they send to other companies that then make whatever they made like bases of plastics, like the very basic shit that you need, and whatever chemicals go into like shit that you spray on decks outside so it doesn't get water damage. There's a
Oh,
huge industry for that. Um, and there's a ton of research that they do in the polymer department because basically all of that different sprays and protectants and stuff, it's all polymer based, which is plastic based. So Wilmad Lab Glass has this like satellite shop. So we don't actually work for Eastman. We're contractors on site there in the research department, and we would make all types of crazy stuff. So I was an apprentice there for 3 years and was able to really get some really good experience
And what kind of
making.
glass were you blowing there? Was this rigs or was this like scientific glass or what
It's
were you
all scientific work. So since we
like?
were in the research department, they're actively like researching different ways of like making plastics and different chemicals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So just like what you'd see in like Frankenstein's lab, like the old
Yeah,
movies. You
laboratory
know, there's
stuff.
all the different crazy chemistry stuff because the basic things they can get out of a catalog of stuff that's already been made at our headquarters. But we were there for the custom stuff. So when they were trying to get a new patent on something or making a miniature version of like a plant that they wanted to make somewhere else, they'd have us do it out of glass. So, we'd have a big glass pot with a tube to a condenser and it'd all be out of glass. When if that was successful, then they'd go to the Philippines or something and they'd actually make the thing full scale where it looks like giant water towers and cooling
Okay. You
stations and
take a
all that
miniature
stuff.
version and then just
Yep.
scale it up.
Yep. They're called pilot plants. So
Okay.
we did a lot of that. So it's just like a lot of stuff down to the millimeter, basically, and really, really precise. And I had a pretty tough boss where if it wasn't perfect, it sucked. And it kind of made me naturally just become really anal about my work and really a perfectionist.
Yeah.
And so that was my start. And a couple years into that, I started getting into pipes again, just
Okay.
playing around here and there. And
But it
I got
set you
my
up right
first,
for it. It gave you the right
yeah.
kind of
Like
training to get
experience and
the
stuff, definitely.
And I had like a lot of the technical skill down, but it doesn't necessarily transfer over to art
of course, yeah.
because there's function, but there's also form. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you could make something with really nice seals that still just kind of looks like a brick, but
Yeah.
functions really
Same.
nice. So like I still kind of was had to like start over in a way aesthetically. And I've been on Instagram so long, you can scroll way down
Yeah, no, I was
if you
looking
got
through a lot of
time.
your so many different variations and yeah, it's crazy how intricate and how much detail goes into some of them.
So if you look at something from like 2009, it's just like that was I was like trying super super hard. I was like, oh, I pulled this off. You know what I mean? Like super
Yeah,
stoked about it, and so you're able to see like the style progression. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
And that's like I guess that's something that you're always learning. As long as you're still blowing glass, will always be evolving in your style.
yeah.
Where on a
Improve it
technical
and
level,
definitely.
it does kind of peak out a little bit, but the form
Yeah,
part's always going to be an
yeah.
evolution.
You know how
So
to make it work. Now you have to make it pretty and
yeah,
fancy and stuff. And
Well, keeping that function,
yeah,
literally, yeah.
and when you are getting these, like I've seen some with crazy tubes going everywhere. It obviously gets harder to keep a functional. The more extravagant the piece gets.
yeah, yeah. It's I haven't really run into that so much because like I build stuff with like function mostly in mind, and then I'm like, all right, how am I gonna make this look pretty? If I
Yeah,
was if I was like really artsy and I'd like to eventually and did something like sculpting
yeah.
and then have to be like, damn, how am I gonna make these weird internal waves and things
Piping
that don't
tubes. Yeah,
necessarily flow very well on the inside? Like, how am I gonna make water want not only pass through it but want to pass through it? When
yeah.
it comes to function, I try to think of an ant in like a miniature water slide park. If you've ever gone to a water slide park, like just like the flow of traffic, things have to go and go. If you hit a big T, it's gonna
Slow
you're gonna
everything
fucking
down.
end up there for a little bit, spinning around in circles before your little Cheerio goes and moves to like one side or
Yeah,
the other. So like it's like that with glass too. If it's big and then there's a sudden constriction and then big again, well, like that shit's gonna slow everything down. That's a little ant traffic jam right there.
Like a
mhm,
pressure point area as well.
yeah,
So if you could think of it like that on the glass's like internal journey through the piece and really nerf those turns, give it that much more of a swoop to change
mm,
direction, that's
mm,
going to be better. And I'm pretty sure like I'm not a plumber, but when it comes to like plumbing and pressure and stuff like that, like in house building, I think it's the same thing. Especially with like ventilation. I think they have to count the amount of turns and ventilation and the distance for where it blows out
Okay.
for the actual motor to be able to do its job. So in our case, the motor's like the vacuum we're pulling with our
Yeah.
lungs. So
That makes sense though.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
You got to make it as smooth and as like so it doesn't fight against you in any way. It just comes smoothly through.
Because like I
yeah.
noticed that with like one of the first rigs I got to try was one of yours, and it was one of your recyclers, and that was so smooth. And like like I'm a smoker, so like my lungs aren't as strong, but with a recycler you get that lovely flow. You can like
hmm
keep the airflow
Yeah,
going. It's
I
a
was
lot
I was only
smoother.
talking to a friend of yours, Runa Buds.
It was his rig that I
Yeah,
tried. Yeah.
so he was explaining to me the difference between a recycler and what's the other one? Like just a straight pipe, and like some of them you need different lung capacity. Some people like to just keep it going smooth. Some people like that big hit. So, what's the difference with the recyclers and the other styles?
Well, the way I see recyclers is like you're getting the same filtration as you would out of like a big bong with like
Yeah,
some deep water in it, and that's because as you're hitting it, if you have your water level perfect in it, it's functioning right. Some of those bubbles are going back down to the bottom, so they're basically getting cooled doubly, and maybe
okay,
some of those are going back down a third time. So there's probably there's some math to it. Let's say like 10% of your total bubbles are going right back down. You know what I mean? Until you're
yeah,
done. So you're getting more filtration in a smaller vessel
yeah,
than you would if it just went up the first time. Whereas a big bong, you have all that volume to get the equal amount of filtration, and you're not recycling. But the downside is usually a lot of times if it's like a deep water bong, you kind of halfway collapse the lung to get it started.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. You
So
need that big breath, and then you get that smack of the smoke just comes through. Like I can't do bongs for that reason. That thick smoke. Like I smoke joints all day, but them thick smokes from a bong, it hits too hard. My lungs just can't handle it. You know what I mean? I start choking and shit. So I'd say the recycler would probably be the smoother option for me
Yeah.
as well. Like,
yeah, yeah, it's yeah. I guess with I mean, some people hash oil bothers them more, like especially at just people like super duper low temp. I'm just imagining all that reclaim just reclaiming right in your lungs or something, and making you cough. But no, I feel you on the rigs. I guess you are getting more of a consistent flow of your vapor, whereas a bong, it's basically a gravity hit. You're just filling up a
Yeah.
chamber and then shotgunning the whole thing.
yeah, it's all just coming at once.
Yeah, but they're fun too.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like a good bong hit now and then?
Yeah.
And you're obviously a dabber yourself. Would that be your primary smoke?
Um, be, because I live in a state that's not legal, and I will say I am a legal dabber of THCA because that's
Okay.
what's compliant with our
Yeah.
area, and a legal smoker of THCA flower. So if I refer to dabbing or flower, I'm referring to that, just to
Of
be
course.
clear. So when my ex-wife records this and is like, "Take his kids away,"
Of course.
I'll have that covered. Um,
Gotcha.
I,
God.
I would say when I have it, I prefer dabbing, but overall, as far as my full stoner history, it's been mostly flower.
Yeah.
Dabbing's more of a, no, I wouldn't say a novelty, but just like a nice
Special occasion.
nice special thing. Yeah, it's definitely
Yeah.
not the standard, and that's fine.
Yeah.
No, but it's nice that your passion is creating it. And even that where it started was a broken bong, bringing you back now to making beautiful pieces.
Yeah,
Like that's
Oh yeah,
phenomenal. How your story just like looped around. But it's like if you had have just jumped straight into the art, you wouldn't have understood glass
yeah,
as
the
much as you
science.
do. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like beautiful the way it worked out for you.
oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
really happy it did, and I'm just thankful to be able to do something I love to do, and we all have our days. No matter how blessed we are, we all have our days where we're just like pissed off for no reason or whatever. But you just take a step back and be like, man, life's
on the
fucking
approach. Yeah,
awesome. Like,
yeah,
geez, like look what I get to do. Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, just be positive. It's like a dream come true being able to work and create and send that to people that brings joy, and then being able to
yeah.
make a living
And then even being a
doing
part
that.
of that community and all, because the glassbone community is growing bigger and bigger all the time. So to be a person in that and to see other artists and
Yeah.
work with them and stuff must be cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's like you could look at glass as like a craft almost. Like the people I used to work with in scientific, they wouldn't see it as any different than being like a plumber, an electrician, or a welder or something like that.
Yeah,
Which I thought was funny because I always had this extra. It was like a little unicorn for me. It's like, oh, it's kind of like that, but it's like there's got this magic, right? And
yeah,
maybe the weed has something to do with that. I don't know, but like when you look at it like that, the I don't know, the art side enables community. People aren't collabing on on paint or installing toilets or welding,
yeah,
going across the country to like weld together. I don't think,
yeah.
anyways. Like that'd be awesome
No,
if they did, but
yeah, the welding
so like
convention.
yeah,
That'd be
so like
cute.
that community you're talking about, like it's huge because like you see my property, like I'm kind of a loner up here on my mountain, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But I
the
through this
wood.
community, I'm able to connect with people, connect with you guys from so far away, even, and
Yeah,
like that's super cool.
yeah, no, for
Yeah.
sure. Do you come to Amsterdam at all?
Have I what?
Come to Amsterdam?
No, I'd love to.
Yeah, you need to get
Oh,
over at some stage.
yeah, definitely.
I'm sure all
I would.
the big dabbers over here be delighted to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would
You've
be
quite a
really.
few pieces over here.
I know. I love seeing my stuff over there. Every
Yeah.
time I send something to like a different country, I'm just like so stoked.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
big time. It's like even Mila has a map of the world where all of her pollinators have gone. You need to create a map where all of your rigs have gone.
yeah,
That's a
You know what I
great
mean?
idea.
All over the world. It'll
yeah.
be like it up in your shed every time you send out an order.
Just
Just
another
like yeah,
pin.
boop, yeah,
Yeah, you'll have a load of pins in Amsterdam for sure. And
yeah.
anyway,
Because it's
Yeah,
so much like it's a art piece. It's an investment. It's an excitement. If you love glass and you love cannabis, that is a whole beautiful
yeah,
gift
yeah.
combined.
Your
You know
two
what I mean?
passions in
Yeah,
one, like
really. And the
yeah. It's
level
like
and the work that you bring is beautiful.
It's like the peace pipe, It's like something that people congregate
yeah,
around. Like even like so it's I think it's unique as functional art too, because like people don't usually, unless it's like communion or something, like pass around like a nice wine glass. Like everybody's
yeah,
got their own. But like you sit in a circle and smoke, like you're gonna take a couple puffs and you're gonna be checking out the piece and seeing how it feels in your hand, and then you're gonna pass it to the next person. It's like I don't know, there's something almost sacred about that. I
yeah.
feel
Yeah.
No, it is. The tribes have been doing it for generations. There's obviously something behind it. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
passing
for
around the
sure.
peace pipe. But when you make a piece, do you make it a one-off, or would you like do a run of these pieces, or
Um, what's been working for me is like I'll have an idea of something, and instead of stressing out trying to make it perfect, I'll make it as a prototype and I'll auction it.
okay,
So it's like I see it as paid R&D, research and development. They're
yeah,
not, auctions don't go for nearly as much as like a fully formed, well-known, finished design, but
Yeah.
it pays the bills and stuff, and it's like my most fun time as a glassblower is during the prototype process, because I'm constantly tweaking and changing and trying to perfect this idea I have. So rather than making it just once, like my newest one, called the Hydroscope, I made like 13 different versions of that and auctioned most of them, and then I finally had my first one, which was a few weeks ago, and just sold that for the current full price. And now I'm about to finish my second one, but I can't help it. I can't help from like experimenting. So it's supposed to be a finished design, but it doesn't look exactly like the last one, just because
Yeah.
I
So
Yeah.
just can't
everyone's
help
unique.
myself. But
Yeah.
by calling it not a prototype, I'm holding myself accountable for making it like as clean as possible, and
As
having an
perfect as
asking
Yeah.
yeah.
price and being like, this is well worth this, instead of just you
Yeah.
know just making it more of like
The
a.
auction one is kind of, this is a prototype. This isn't my like 100% guaranteed kind of work. This is what I'm working on, kind of,
Yeah.
and you can kind of play around with it that way, and it gives you that little bit of, you know what I mean, security. That right,
Yeah.
if it's not my best work, they know it. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
I bet a
exactly.
lot of people are excited nearly to get one of them because
more,
it
yeah,
is unique and it's while, well, firstly, as you said, you're having your most fun. You're in your creative flow. So it's the energy that's in that piece as well. You
yeah,
know what I mean? That you're
Yeah,
getting. That I think is more cool than anything
yeah,
perfect and spot. I'd rather get something that you've made while enjoying. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
they're
for
nice that
sure.
they're unique in that way. It's like,
yeah.
yeah, no, very
And
cool.
how long would it take you to make a piece from start to finish?
Right now, this prototype I'm finishing up, it's taken like all week, but um I'm a lot slower while I'm kind of figuring out exactly how I'm going about doing a
Okay,
piece. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like my Hydra, like my most popular design. Like if someone was to order one of those, I can get that done in like 4.5 to 5 days. So like 8 hour days. So it's like it's still a good 40 hours,
a lot of
because
work that
like
went
I'm.
into one piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like it's full color. So like we get rods, and I have to turn rods into tubes, and then I have to make all the different sizes of tubing, right? And then I have to do all the basic shapes, and like, so I'm like 3 days in before I'm actually putting
Assembling.
putting the piece together. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So would
so
you create each piece separately? Like on the recyclers, you'd make like the body and then each of the
Tubes and rods
tubes
and
separate and then bring them together?
yep. Like if you just imagine like I don't know, I think of like anything that you have like directions for, like Legos or something, and
yeah,
you,
or
you
like
have
here.
you have that map, and you can like put all the little pieces like over the outline of what it's supposed to be, like
Yeah,
I basically I write that down on a piece of paper. So like I'll have my little triangle base with the fat foot on it, and then the outer layer, and then I'll have a little check mark next to that. I'll have a little picture of my fab ball that goes into that. Check. I'll say with that specific piece, like I need five little nubs of color this big on the end of 9.5 tubes. I need six 75 millimeter long by 9.5 tubes. I need five 65 millimeter long by 9.5 tubes. So it's just like
yeah,
it is very much like every single part is pre-made. So then it'll naturally go together like clear glass. Because with clear
Yeah.
glass, you already have all your sizes. So I'm trying to make the build as much like just my original clear glass design as possible by first making all the color glass exactly to these sizes.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
Nice. It's
it's
like,
fascinating.
I'd say that makes it enjoyable. Like
Yeah,
it's nicer to work. Like even like as creative people, we can be quite like chaotic. But when you have your system that works, that you just grab and go and
Yeah.
grab and go, it's lovely. It
I
just
enjoy the
flows
shit like that, like IKEA or assembling that. And once I know
yeah,
what goes where, I'm like, right, you can just start putting it all together
yeah,
then. So yeah, no, I enjoy shit
Yeah.
like that.
It's less overwhelming like that too, because like
yeah.
you're just focused on each little part of the build, and then at some point you maybe like stop to go pee and come back, and you're like, oh damn, this piece is like shit's getting real, you know? It's like looking like something nice. It's looking real symmetrical or whatever, but you've been so hyper focused on each step that
You
you
didn't
got to
you
get
could
through
see
like
the
halfway through
forest
the
from the
piece,
trees.
Mm.
and then you see it and you're like, okay, like damn, I'm
Yeah.
doing this. This is weird.
Yeah.
How did I get here?
And
I'd say it's
yeah,
mental.
I was gonna say, and like you just have this image, and next thing it's starting to become a real thing in your head or in your hands. You know what I mean? You've had this idea in your head to see it becoming real, and you're like, actually, this is cool as I thought it was gonna be.
From all these tubes of glass to now
Yeah,
this beautiful functioning rig, like that's it's cool to see. I'd say come from that little
yeah.
thing. Yeah,
And then like you obviously have to test, make sure they are function at the end and stuff
Mhm.
like that. And would it happen often that it's not like smoking right or not bubbling right, or
Very, very rarely, but there have been
would that
times.
scrap then, or is there salvageable?
Um, Usually salvageable. It's usually like um working with colors that are completely opaque, like black tubing or something that I was pulling down, and then it turns out that like some really important parts of the tube that allow it to drain, not the main cool drains, but just something that makes it so too much water doesn't stack up on top, like those will be too small, and then it'll make it so that if you pull too hard you get a bunch of water in your mouth or something
Okay,
like
yeah,
that. So
yeah.
yeah, I'd
but
say it's
usually,
millimeters and in
at
difference
least in
can make
recent
it.
memory, I mean I fucked up a lot when I was just learning, but
Of course, that's how you learn.
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
No, nice. And where is it taking you? Like, have you gone to many conferences or like
Conventions and
cannabis? Yeah, like cannabis-based conventions, like with your glass, or do you mainly just kind of create and send off?
I mostly do just custom work. I went to Vegas for, I guess, Glass Vegas is what's it called,
that's
is
right. That's
Yeah.
last
it.
year. And I've found that like I do a lot better just doing customs on the internet. Like I've always felt really lucky in that I haven't had to like have this really big display and say like, hey, please buy this, you know.
Yeah,
I've
Yeah.
just kind of like made what I think is cool, and then um
people
that's
want
how
it.
I
I've kind of wrapped up the prototypes, because then people are like, oh, how much for one? Let me get one and stuff. Like it's kind
Yeah,
of in the public conscience. It's at a point like form wise that I'm happy with, and then especially like with the Hydra, like it just blew up. It blew up after I changed a few drains to look like this, like mirroring each other in the front. And then it
okay.
just completely changed the look of the whole piece. Just something like, because those are just going around the back, hardly any different. And then I just, people started ordering them like crazy. So
No,
like,
it's mad. You don't even realize yourself what can be the thing that people want. You know what I mean?
uh,
You're like, oh,
yeah,
but no, it makes no difference, and you change, and people like, that looks sick. I want that. You
yeah,
know what I mean? So that's cool.
that that's a good reason to kind of
That,
let the people decide a little bit. Just put
yeah,
it out there.
yeah.
yeah,
No, that's it. Like you can think something's going to be great, and you haven't even thought of it another way, and somebody just sees that other angle of it, or goes,
just
"What if you could done this?" You're like, "Okay."
uh,
So yeah.
it gives you that outlook.
And if people wanted to order a piece, how do they get in contact with you?
You just DM me.
Yeah, Instagram.
Yeah, on Instagram, Siren Apparatus. And what I do is I just take a deposit so I know they're serious, and I quote them how many weeks or sometimes months, depending on how busy I am, it'll take, and to get the order secured.
Yeah.
And I have done like crazy like napkin sketch stuff before. I'll do that stuff, but usually people are wanting one of my established designs, and then they're
Yeah.
just picking the colors.
But if
Okay.
somebody had an idea in mind, you will work with them and try and make it. Like,
Yeah, I'll make it down to the millimeter. Like,
yeah,
Wow.
what I do is I'll take a picture of it and then I'll print it out and I'll blow it up. I'll blow it up to the point where the joint they drew is like uh, when it comes to measuring, like right around a 10 mil joint, or if the neck looks like it should be around 19, I'll blow that picture up until their drawing has a 19 millimeter neck on it, and then
yeah,
I'll just measure every little part of that crazy drawing, make all my parts, and then basically I'm scaling up. It's like a 1-to-1 scale up
yeah. Like a
of
blueprint,
whatever they
nearly.
drew this big. And I
Wow.
have some old posts that it's cool because it's like this like funky little picture, just silly little picture, and then you see it spinning on my lathe, and it's like exactly the same, and
Oh,
it's that is like pure scientific because that's what I did in my old job. I worked off CAD drawings that had this needs to be 15 millimeters long plus or minus one half, which is like has to be within half a millimeter. So
Yeah,
I'm just basically making my own CAD drawing off of whatever. I love doing that stuff, but
yeah, that's
yeah.
sick.
I hardly ever get a chance to do it much anymore.
And when someone draws it, do they know it's going to be functional, or can you always make it functional from whatever it looks like? You know what I mean?
I
They want
I
mad
can tell
shapes, or
I can tell if it won't. People have tried to argue with me about it, and I'm just like, no, dude, trust me, this is what I do. Like that's
yeah,
not gonna work. And
you can't have that that
then
wide.
you're
Like,
not gonna want to pay me, and I'm gonna be in a bad mood because I told you it wasn't gonna work. So like, if something looks like they're close, but maybe one of their tubes are going the wrong way or something, I'll talk to them about it, and I'll be like, hey, I
yeah,
like where you're coming from. I think it would be better if this, and 99% of the time they'll listen to me.
yeah,
Yeah, no,
nice.
big respect though. Even just for taking the time to chat with people about that. Because, like, the rigs are expensive, like, not
Yeah,
just from yourself, like, across the game. So it's
Mhm.
beautiful then when people are going to get one and invest in it, you're taking the time with them to actually be
yeah.
like, right, what works, what doesn't,
It's
and even
either
explaining the why.
yeah,
So they're not just walking away with a beautiful piece, they're also like understanding the whole functionality of it.
yeah,
Like that alone, because like if you're new to dabbing, it's quite intimidating.
yeah, for
Like I remember
sure.
the first time I walked out, like when I moved to Amsterdam and I went to a first 710 session, and I walked in with my little hash joint and I was just like, what the fuck is all of this?
Yeah,
I'd never saw rigs like this before. It's up bongs and that kind of stuff back home. And next thing there was like dragons and mushrooms and all sorts of
yeah.
chaos. Like it was
And then you hear the
beautiful.
prices, and you're like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Oh man, I backed away from them tables. God, I did not touch anything.
Yeah,
But it's the to go and do it because I saw some pieces and when I'm explaining, they're like, yeah, it's beautiful, but the function, you're basically just gonna drink all the water from it,
yeah,
or it's all of these things. So the fact that you're creating something that is all of that functionality, it's beautiful, the colors, everything. It's
no, the functionality is definitely the first and foremost. You know what
yeah,
I mean? Because if it doesn't smoke right, who cares what it looks like? You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, and you
literally,
do get a lot of that. Like over here, you get all the fancy looking grinders that look like something like poker chips or a fucking Pokemon ball, or you get these bongs that, and they're always the ones that look cooler are always the shitter ones, and then usually
Mhm.
it's the more simple, effective things that are just a better made design. So to make it look cool and functional is definitely
yeah,
the, you know what I mean, the aim of the game, and you've definitely achieved that because some of your shit looks crazy, and
yeah.
I'm guessing
Yeah,
from from the reviews it definitely functional too. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
no big.
I like to be able to put like too much water in the piece practically, and it's not hitting
Yeah,
your mouth. Like the water line's basically up to your mouth, and you're not sipping water. Like
yeah,
that's a well thought out piece.
yeah, no,
And
definitely. Because it
but
is.
I
It's
mean, I'd like in the future to get into sculpting and like if you could make I don't know, like I imagine like a really pretty like face, like a goddess or something, but it's like post apocalypse, right? And she's wearing some kind of weird gas mask, and then so this is all opaque, but then the gas mask would be like a clear ish color, and it would go up
Yeah.
around the back of her head or something, and
You
like
see the
those could be the
smoke travel
uptakes.
through, like,
Yeah, and maybe like the her like breathing backpack could have the vortex chamber on the inside, like really make some like something profound like art, but
yeah,
with something that looks completely non-functional. I think would be
yeah,
Yeah.
awesome in the future.
To go
Just takes
big but bold with it.
yeah,
Yeah.
just takes repetition, like I think most people can get good at anything they want within like physical abilities, maybe not becoming like a sprinter or something, but when it
yeah,
comes to like craft, like it's like I know if I put enough hours and took enough of the right classes, I could become a sculptor.
yeah,
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll have more time in the future to mess around
yeah.
with
Yeah.
that.
Like you
But
No,
said,
that's just
definitely.
another thing.
10,000 hours perfection. You
There's
do something over and
always
over.
there's always something new to get good at in this
Yeah.
in this industry, which is cool.
It
And
is, and
people,
it's constantly evolving. And I'd say, especially with glass, there's no limits.
yeah, and you get the support from like people that support your work. They're usually excited when people go in new directions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and what you were
So,
saying about like explaining stuff to people, like DMs and stuff, like yeah, like if you're gonna spend that much money on a piece, like it's good to be educated, and it's good to feel like you have some sort of relationship with that person
yeah,
too.
Yeah. No, definitely. It's no nice. We're bringing a lovely
Yeah.
vibe to the dab and
yeah,
like
no, for
community.
sure. And I think Rune was saying you're doing like, a few collabs these days.
I'm doing a Stony Chicken collab, which he's a friend of mine. He does like wood grain and frogs. He's like one of the best frog guy in
Okay.
glass. And I we just finished up a rye glass collab. I posted that. I think I posted it. He might have posted it. But yeah, Instagram's really like giving me a lot of grief lately. Like they're saying like if you don't follow me, like you can't even find me through the search bar right now.
Oh yeah, shadow
And
banned.
yeah, but they'll
Yeah,
tell you in your account status, and like every day it's like you need to delete this post, you need to delete this post. And at
yeah,
first it was just function tests, and now it's just me holding stuff up. So it's like
No.
I'm glad I already have my name out there and stuff, but like I could see it being a problem for someone just starting out. And
yeah.
I'm thinking about disguising my pieces like on a post, like putting like flowers and shit like coming out of like the joint and the mouthpiece, and just being
Okay,
like,
to make just
yeah,
like a vase.
like because it's all AI, it's all like these bots that flag stuff. They probably see the joint and they see the mouthpiece because
Yeah,
that's the common thing in all pipes, and then everything in between is usually a little different. So
yeah.
I might be camouflaging my posts where like people that follow me see the piece, but hopefully the AI will stop flagging it because that's annoying.
Yeah.
Like I told the last time I got a haircut, I told my barber, and he's like, "Oh, I can't find you, dude." I'm like, "What?"
No.
It's like
Yeah,
I
with mine,
swear, swear it's
with,
me.
yeah, with mine, you have to put in every letter of the name, and then the last letter you put in, my page pops up. So if you
Yeah,
don't put
mine's
it
not even
all in
that.
perfectly, yeah. But somebody was telling me recently that X, as in Twitter, that's
Hmm.
very open. Like people are talking about all sorts. So it might be worth your while, maybe just setting up a backup page to kind of, because I think you can
Yeah.
openly put everything on Twitter the way it's going now. So it might be worth it. Fucking just
Yeah, I
another
never
outlet.
thought of that. Can you
Yeah,
put videos on Twitter?
yeah, yeah.
Really?
You can even I
Oh,
can even go live on Twitter now. They have it like the way you can on
oh no
Instagram and
shit.
shit. You can do live and stuff. So um, yeah, maybe
That'd be
just have
good.
it back up on all social medias. You know what I mean? And do no harm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'll probably set up a Twitter account. It's a good idea. It's
Yeah,
just a matter of like everybody doing it, Like we
yeah,
a lot. I've tried to like have these little social medias, but it's like Instagram's king right now. So
Yeah, no, it
just gonna try
is.
to work with it. Stay in the
But
shadows, but not shadow ban.
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a few pages even got taken down over here, which is shit.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? You get so
Oh,
far and you've
literally.
all this content and all, then just gone. Like, so,
That's the hard part because it's not like a lot of work and effort goes
Yeah,
into that. And if you
yeah,
haven't saved all your content,
yeah.
it's a
And even
bitch.
on like your,
Yeah.
you know, you have your story highlights, you can have years of that, all this stuff just gone then, you know what I mean? So, yeah, you can build up a whole database and their whole community, and then it can just be taken away the way it goes. So,
Because it has been great to connect with people.
yeah,
Because like on before I moved here, I didn't see anyone on like from the Canna community, apart from one girl in the UK. And then once I moved here, I started meeting people and being connected with
yeah,
people and like introduced. And when you see how massive the
yeah, no, it's
community is,
crazy.
like to be able to talk with yourself all the way over in the States, it's like these kind of things. It's
Yeah,
sick. It's
we done a
really
live last night, and one of the guys I know joined us from a cannabis convention in LA. It was like the Can Olympics or something. It was in LA,
Hmm.
sick.
but it was just an outdoor thing. They did a concert on that night, but there was just stalls everywhere, and every stall just had jars of weed or pre-made blunts, like selling openly flour, the whole lot. Your
Sick.
man's going up like, "Oh, these blunts of 2.5 grams are $20. This flowers, I think he was getting quarters for like $45, and then all this shit. It was he bought a half ounce for $80. That's 14 grams for like $80 or something. Like over here, they sell
Well,
Cali weed for like €30 a gram after they've shipped it over. So it's fucking, and people buy it over here. Like if you put it in a fancy Cali pack, people fucking take my money. I don't care. Just take it. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah.
So all the import stuff, and it's, I always say it's probably B grade or C grade that they're sending over here, and
Yeah.
people are paying triple the price for it then when it gets here. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Do you guys? Are you guys?
see the
You guys have
growing
like a lot of
anyways.
indoor growing there, like
It's not legal.
hydroponics?
It's not legal to grow here.
Well, we have
Okay.
there's currently the government experiment
Experiment.
grows, and they're going like kind of full hog
They're
and
nearly up to
stuff.
run. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, they gave 10 growers 10 licenses to legally grow for 4 years, and they're going to supply 10 little towns outside of Amsterdam, and to see if they can keep them functioning for 4 years. So can they supply them with weed, edibles, all this? And if they can, then they'll give more licenses and stuff. But we're in the middle of doing the experiment while Germany just fully legalized it. So it's ridiculous, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's been legal here technically for 40 years. They're trying to make it more strict, but at the same time, the whole world is going more legal. So it's a weird loophole here. Like it's one of the most accepted, but yet somehow in fifth or sixth place in the world now for weed. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
everywhere else is just taking ahead. Like
Do you guys still like are able to sell shrooms in stores in Amsterdam?
no,
You
they're
can sell
truffles.
truffles.
Yeah,
You can sell mushroom. You can sell the grow kits. So you can go in and
Okay.
legally buy the grow kits
The
and like
spores and
a
stuff.
range of them. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, but you can't go in and actually buy mushrooms.
it
But you
used
can
to
buy
be when
truffles.
I first came here, you could buy dried mushrooms. Then it was only wet mushrooms. Now it's only truffles. So it's they've stepped
Hmm.
back on it and back on it. So yeah, and even in
You're
America
tired.
and Canada have talked about legalizing mushrooms. So
Yeah.
everywhere is going one way, and we're going reverse on everything. So it's
Yeah, there's
I
some
wonder
lovely
why.
mushy chocolates there.
I don't know. I think it's the mayor of Amsterdam. That's what we keep hearing. She just hates everything. She wants to get rid of the red light district. She wants to get rid of the coffee shops. She just wants, I don't know, everything Amsterdam's famous for. She wants to get rid of it.
Isn't tourism like a big part of the economy in
She thinks
Amsterdam?
the canals and the museums will bring in enough tourists, a better style of tourists. And the main problem is the drunken stag parties and bachelor parties,
Yeah.
which have nothing to do with the weed, but they're so small-minded and moronic that they think if they get rid of coffee shops, these drunks will stop pissing on the streets and fighting with people when they're nothing to do with each other, literally. You know what I mean? So But yeah, it's sad to see because Amsterdam, like back in the day, was the most amazing place in the world, and it's
Yeah.
just it's dying every year. It's getting less and less what it used to be. Like, and it's so sad to see.
That's crazy.
Oh man, I better visit soon
Yeah, you better
before.
come soon
Yeah,
before
no,
there's nothing to
do.
see. Like
Yeah.
it's yeah. No, if you ever do come over, let us know 'cause we'll get you on the podcast proper. Maybe bring a few pieces with you. And, I'm sure there'll be a session somewhere that the lads will set up a dab session somewhere in your honor.
Yeah, I'd love to make it over there
Yeah,
Yeah.
someday.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, no, but honestly, it seems like you have the right setup.
Yeah,
Like the space, the land, you're
you're
crafting,
connected and
and
disconnected at the same time.
yeah,
Like you know what I mean. You're
like
connected in
it's
the
a
right ways.
beautiful life. Honestly, it is a beautiful life. Like part of what I do is creative and crafting, but it's chaotic. Like it's
Yeah,
full
and in the city
go.
of chaos too. Like
Yeah, like in Amsterdam Madness, you're out in this like space. You can scream if you want to. You know what I mean? Yeah.
yeah.
No, honestly, it's
And how
like
far from New York are you if you want to get into the madness?
Oh, New York is like 10, 11 hours away.
Okay, so
I could
you're
probably
up
get
in
to
like
Miami faster. I could probably get to Miami in like
oh
nine
shit.
hours or
So are
something.
you in New Jersey then or New York?
No, I'm in Tennessee.
Oh, you're in Tennessee. So you're
Yeah,
okay.
I'm
Oh,
down
well, you
south.
weren't from New York originally, were you?
Uh, I was born in New York, ironically, but
Okay, I
only
knew it
when
was
I was a
from New
baby.
York.
But my glassblowing journey brought me to South Jersey, Salem Community College. So
Uh,
I moved to Tennessee from New Jersey, and yeah, I had enough traffic and tolls. And my
uh,
daughter, I'm like, yeah, there's places in this country where you have to pay if you want to use a road. She's like, what? That's crazy. I'm like, yeah, it is crazy, but people think it's normal because
yeah,
they're just used to it. I was like, we don't have that crap down
yeah.
here.
No,
It's
New
great. We
York's a
have so
different
much
animal
freedom.
altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really nice. I'm really lucky to live where I do. We're in the county, but like the city is only like 50,000, so it's a big enough city to like have stuff like movie theaters and decent
yeah.
groceries and stuff. But
So what's the legal status in Tennessee then for cannabis?
it's weird. It's completely illegal, but THCA is legal,
And
so
what about medical?
there is no medical.
So you're one of the few states that have nothing at all.
No,
Which
but like THCA diamonds are like the most powerful form of hash you could buy. It's just completely stripped down to nothing, decarboxylated
uh,
THC, as far as
no,
I
I've heard
know.
we have a friend that comes over from America, and he just talked about in his state it was only THCA as well. So that's how they were getting around it.
Yeah,
It's a
it's funny.
loophole.
It's like people come here for classes, and I'm like, you better watch out with this shit. And then like they'll take a big like crack rock looking thing of it. It's THCA because it's like a little crystal, and they're just 2 stone. I'm like, dude, I told you. I was like, you can get that legally at the fucking gas station 5 minutes from here, but you can't buy a nug of normal weed that'll like give you a decent buzz. Like,
And
it's pretty crazy.
what
So,
is the difference between THC? Because I've heard a few times, but I still don't fully understand it.
uh, so the plant itself, while the plant is maturing, it is its psychoactive stuff is like all THCA at beginning. And then as it gets more potent and grows and gets closer to when you need to harvest it, more of that THCA converts to THC.
Okay,
There's a point where um, there's a cutoff. The plant can't have a certain amount of THC by the time they test it and pull it.
okay,
But there's no there's no limit to like how long they can just hold it like that, I guess, before they dry it and process it. So they can wait a little bit, and by the time it is actually on the store shelf,
it's probably
legally it has way higher than the threshold of
yeah,
THC. But when it comes to the THC hash crystals, rock things. They're just, just stripping the plants, getting all that off of that, and then just however they do it, um, stripping every little plant piece of anything that gives it any color or anything, all the way down to like the chemistry of the THC molecule in a rock form. And since it hasn't been heated yet, it is still THCA, because just like when you make weed brownies, if you just eat raw weed, it won't fuck you up. You have to heat it past
Decaffeinated.
120 degrees or something for it to convert to THC.
Yeah,
So you just have these pure rocks of like molecular THCA that just haven't been heated yet enough to convert. But once they do, they're like, it's like stronger than any other hash out there,
and
and it's perfectly legal.
that's
So,
crazy.
but I wouldn't say it's a priority um down here where I live, just because like if I was the police, it would be such a pain in the butt, because like how are you going to prove that this is THCA or THC or Delta 8 or Delta 10, or like it all smells the same, it all looks the same. All the
Uh,
field test kits are they're going to pop. They're going to have to arrest you and then to get some full lab tests done to find that microscopic difference. And I don't think it's a priority now because of that, because it's just not worth it. I mean,
yeah,
if somebody's already like driving drunk or something and they have a bunch of weed on them, it's like, okay, then it's probably worth it to like add the charge. But they're
yeah.
not they're not
But it's
busting
mad how you
people's
can
work.
have no medical, no recreational, but yet this stuff is so readily available, and it's
The
pretty much the same
synthetic
thing.
vibe. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's strange. Like when the right stuff is made illegal, then the wrong stuff just
yeah,
becomes prevalent,
yeah,
because people sell like kratom shots and all this shit. I don't know if that's big where you guys are, but like people get mad hooked on kratom. It's like an opiate at a high enough dose, and um, people get really hooked on that shit. And it's perfectly legal. You just buy it anywhere.
it's crazy.
So yeah,
Yeah.
they
And then a
should
bit of
just make
cannabis to survive.
normal weed. If normal weed could be legal and everybody could just grow some of it for themselves, it'd be a
Yeah,
lot better than all these weird legal loopholes.
Yeah.
yeah, all this bullshit.
Yeah, if
Like,
it could just be grown like your tomatoes and peppers as
yeah,
normal,
people
it
have
would be.
allotments and just have their own little grows and their own little
Yeah,
thing. You know what I mean?
it
I think
would.
was it somebody telling us South Africa, everyone's allowed to grow, nobody is allowed to sell. So there's no dispensaries, there's no coffee shops, there's nothing. Everyone can grow, you can give it away, but you can't sell it. Like that's a perfect system. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like who gives
you
a
just
fuck if you can't sell it?
Because
you
they
could just
say,
trade your strains
Trading,
for
you
other
know what I mean?
strains, probably.
yeah,
Bartering system, you know what I
yeah.
mean?
And they say it's a lot more of a generous community
Yeah,
like that because they're at ease because they're not deemed criminals.
yeah,
They
they can
haven't got
grow in
on their
abundance and just
yeah,
here, take it. I have
and
loads, you know
yeah,
what I mean?
it's
I'll grow
beautiful.
more, don't worry,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
because it's what the cannabis community is. It's a
Yeah,
very like welcoming space
yeah,
when
very
it's in the right
sharing
people.
kind of, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So if they're allowed to meet and connect and to blaze together, it makes it cooler and stronger.
Yeah, no,
You know.
definitely.
I'm all about the bartering system. Like, I've been thinking about that a lot lately, because like they don't you don't get taxed by the government when you trade stuff, but
Yeah,
we all insist on using money. And then I guess it's because society is just so big, and you can't always find what you want from some other
yeah,
dude, and but like, I don't know, it's like our whole society is based on having this middleman and just taxing. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And in the old days, like when you had your butcher, baker, candlestick maker, and you
yeah,
had less complex needs, like if you had something that you made, if you were the loaf of bread guy, like you could get all that other stuff. You could get your
yeah.
eggs, you could get your firewood, like,
That's it.
and nobody's freaking scamming off the top. It's just like
Yeah,
straight across. It's pure. I
Yeah,
wish we could go
everyone got
back
what
to
they
more of
needed and
that.
no more. There was no
Yeah.
greed because there was no need for it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You weren't.
definitely.
There
Yeah.
was no point in stockpiling a load of stuff that's gonna go bad. You know what I mean? Share it out. I'll do for you. You do for me, and
Yeah.
then people.
Yeah,
Once you have money and you can stockpile it and take it out of the circulation, you're like, right, I need to get all of this. You know what I mean? And yeah, no, it was definitely the downfall of society when money and
Yeah.
debt and interest and all came into the day to day life. Like, not that like it was always bad because it was always just a few rich and the rest were poor anyway. You know what I mean? So it kind of the divide's been there since fucking kingdoms and fucking
Yeah.
empires and all. You know what I mean? So it's 90% of the world has always been fucked and it always will be.
Yeah.
We're a
But if
broken
we find our
society.
way and we find our community,
Yeah, no, that's
you
it.
know
It's
what I
just the
mean?
best thing is to have small communities, small pods where it actually works and
Uh-huh.
try and not be part of society as much as you can. Like you,
yeah,
just find a couple of acres somewhere and just disappear off the grid.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Wish
the
I wish
dream.
I had a cave or something. I'm still looking around. I hope I find a cave. We're
Dig
supposed to
something
have
up in
more
that
caves.
barn.
Supposed to have more caves in the state than like all the other states combined. I read somewhere.
For
So
what? From gold digging or
just caves, like
okay.
natural like holes in the ground. So
Wow. And how much land have you got there?
10 acres. So
Nice.
it's not a crazy amount, but it's a good hike.
Yeah, you go for a good
Yeah.
walk, like.
Yeah, I've got some trails running through, and like there's like a family of black bear
Oh
like over
shit.
the fence somewhere, and there's lots of deer and stuff, and like it's nice.
So would the
Yeah.
Got a
bears ever
pond.
come to the house?
Um, I got a big fence around my property now, but yeah, they used to steal my trash can.
Jesus Christ.
I caught one on video, like walking backwards on his hind legs, taking my
Take my
trash
trash.
can. Yeah, it's hilarious.
Crazy.
The
Cheeky.
bla- the
And
black
they
bears are like pretty skittish. They're not really like
I was gonna say, are they vicious or are they kind of they're
no,
more afraid of you?
no. They're generally more afraid of you.
Yeah. And any fucking like mountain lions or anything like that or anything else dangerous?
Um, we have coyotes. Got a
Okay.
bad coyote problem. So like you don't want to like leave a little dog or something unattended.
Yeah.
We got red-tailed hawks. I used to have chickens, and my chickens would get attacked by hawks swooping down from the sky. And they're
Shit.
protected too, so I couldn't even run up and kick it. I could go to
It's
jail.
expected as an American you say shoot it, but run up and kick it works too.
Oh,
Oh no,
I just,
it's hard to separate like two flapping birds. You got four wings just flapping around.
yeah,
Fucking
Yeah.
like
Claws
long,
everywhere.
like, yeah.
yeah. You just the first instinct is just punt it like a soccer ball and hope it
Yeah.
separates.
Hope it
Hope
flies
you get the
away.
right side of the ball, get the hawk
Yeah.
side, not the
Yeah, not
chicken.
your chicken.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Eat
that
your
that just
chicken
flashes through my
anyway.
mind. Then I just yell, and then they separate. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
crazy that just having all that wilderness around you. Like we live
yeah.
in right in Amsterdam City. Like I could 5 minutes down the road is the
Well,
red light district, and like I mean, there's coffee shops everywhere. So there's no wilderness or no fucking.
no,
We see
pigeons.
trees on the side of the road. And that's about it. So just to be not only in all that land, but surrounded by bears and coyotes and hawks and all, it's just crazy.
Fighting hogs,
Yeah,
literally.
yeah,
No.
it's nice. The restaurants don't stay open quite as late, but other than that,
yeah.
it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, you've the right setup. I
Um,
can see why you're creating such cool
yeah,
pieces.
no, that's it. Especially when you
Yeah,
do want to get creative, to have that space, you know what I mean, to do what you
yeah,
want and peace
Yeah,
of mind.
just uncluster your mind. Life
Uh,
life can be simple if you don't complicate it too
yeah,
much.
no, that's a
yeah,
lot of people go out of their way to complicate their lives and keep adding more complications to their lives, and
yeah.
I don't really see the point myself. Minimum effort, that's my motto.
Yeah, I just try to stay as debt free as possible and keep the stress down.
Yeah,
One thing I tell everybody, like when it comes to credit cards, is like if you can just get on your app and just even if you owe $20 on your credit card, just like pay that shit off as fast as you put money on it, and then you're kind of winning credit card scheme, because they're trying to entice you by giving you deals like airline miles and stuff. But
Yeah.
they'd go out of if everybody got hooked up, they'd go out of business. Like their whole business model is knowing that most people are gonna wind up not paying their shit off by the end of the month. So I try to I try to fly for free as much as I can, and I just do that by putting everything on my credit card and just going straight into my app and just paying for that shit like at the end of the day, and then it allows me to travel all
to
over the
get
country,
to get the
teach
benefits without
classes.
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
yeah,
and
nice.
Nice.
I try to tell everybody to do that. That's my grown up tip right there.
I love it. We
Nice.
learn as we go, big
Yeah,
time. But it's smart. You're on top of your shit. You don't have that as a fear, and you get to travel.
yeah, no, that's
That was a
it.
pretty good
It's
tip.
using the
Yeah.
system against.
Yeah. Adults
Yeah,
on
traveling to
101.
teach is
Yeah.
nice too.
Mm.
Like work traveling is great too, because like as someone that's self-employed, you're not getting vacation time, so like if you go on a vacation, you're kind of double losing, because you're going to be spending a lot more, because you're going to like be going out to dinner a lot and enjoying yourself,
Yeah,
but then you're also not back at home working, so you're like losing there too. So like being able to teach like all over the country has been a really great way to see the country and like not go broke.
yeah.
Nice.
So
And what are you teaching people? Like, are you teaching them to glass blow rigs, or like what is it that you're like actually teaching as a class?
So, uh, the classes I teach in other places that aren't my studio, it's mostly just like a viewing class of me making my hydras and just answering questions and stuff like
Oh,
that.
very
Okay.
I
nice.
never
Nice.
I never really called that a class until people told me I should start teaching,
Like a
and I'm like,
seminar kind of.
and
Yeah.
they were like, no, this is called a class. You just build what you build and you answer questions. I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's a class. And so yeah, I just people like to see something get created from start to finish.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at home classes, I started doing, if they come here, I started doing just like the basics of all the basic seals, and I have two lathes, so I actually show them and then have them do it and repeat it and just make a bunch of these shapes that I show them, and just
Nice.
and then maybe a little rig or something at the end, but it's mostly just that repetition of just like lots of ring seals or pushing a lot of
That
feet or just,
repetition of getting it
yeah,
down.
Yeah.
yeah, because as humans, like, especially if it's just a hobby, or if like somebody's better, like way better by hand, doing stuff by hand, and they're making money that way, it's hard to like go through that period of either having glass that ends up trash, or just not making money off what you would have been doing, and dedicating this time to repeat something until you get good at it. But if
Mm.
you go out of your element, you go to my class, for example, I'm behind you and I'm making you make like 50 of this thing until you
Yeah.
get it, and it just kind of takes all the overthinking out of it, instead of being like, well, I could make something else that doesn't make me sad right now, that could make me funny right now. It's like, no, you came here to learn this. And so that's a different type of class I do also,
Yeah.
but I'm
No,
just
that's
not
nice.
able to do that really when I travel, because the lathe is a big expensive machine, and um I'm usually not gonna go to a shop that has like six of them. So, but I mean, I would totally do that if there was a place that was equipped enough.
Yeah.
I'd love to teach class overseas,
You could even
sometime
do
too.
online ones, like people could even like to a Patreon where people could pay for a course. You know what I mean? They could do a step by
Yeah,
step video guides or something. You know what I mean, on different rigs and stuff.
yeah, that's crossed my mind a lot, like doing a
Yeah, like
Patreon and
online
stuff.
seminar kind of shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Be
I'd
sweet.
I'd like to do that eventually. That sounds like
Yeah.
it could really be fun.
Yeah,
My
but
mind's
that's
just not there right now.
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. That's it. You just get to when it's ready, when it works.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly. It is. It's
I'd,
cool to share it and teach it, definitely.
Yeah, no, hundred
Yeah.
percent. I say a lot of people want to know.
Yeah. Because it's been fascinating just learning from what we've learned now.
Yeah,
like on this, like as I was saying, there's a lot to it. They're all so different and unique. So when you actually get explained why
Yeah.
each thing is like,
I
oh,
don't think, like, even just because I am good with my hands. I was a carpenter by trade, so I was always good with stuff, and I like that. I'd learned through repetition, like, right, that didn't work because of this and like that. So I would love just to get in there and mess around making the joints and stuff. Sometimes be sick.
Yeah,
Forever traveling through America, we'll come and see you.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I'll
come for your
give you a free little glass blowing lesson.
Nice, that'd be sick.
I
No,
love having visitors.
Yeah, that'd be nice just to see the land as well. Nice.
Yeah, yeah. We got a lot of like state parks and stuff around here too. It's really pretty.
And if you're smoking THCA in a state park or a public place, is that a problem?
I don't know. I've never tried before.
Okay.
You're probably
A
gonna
lot
get
of
yelled
nice
at by
areas.
like somebody. But
Uh,
I mean, people are always like smoking when they're like playing like frisbee golf and shit. I guess there's like a public area for it, sort of, or like hiking or something, you know. But like,
uh,
if you're at like a kid's playground or some shit,
yeah,
and you're
no,
just one of the
same over
parents
here. That's one of the
yeah,
you're
things we
just
tell
like
be
people.
hitting the
respectful.
bong on the bench, like, yeah,
Yeah, palms
you're gonna
On
squats.
the
catch some shit.
swing. Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
with everybody with their little vaporizers now, I mean, you see people all the time, like if they're eating at a restaurant downtown outside, they might hit that real quick, or you know,
Yeah.
like it's so low key now with these vapes, and especially because since everyone vapes nicotine already, like
yeah,
nobody's gonna look out of place if they take a puff of their little
weed
weed
No.
vapes.
vape.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
they
Yeah.
don't smell like weed, like so you get away with it.
Yeah, it's a lot fresher than a joint.
yeah, and the smoke it's a lot less. It's not even like
Yeah,
a people are used to these huge clouds from the vapes, so you see a tiny puff of something, you don't think much of
yeah.
it.
Nobody gives a
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah,
But
pretty cool.
I think we'll leave it there. It was great chatting to you. Hopefully, we get you over to Amsterdam someday. Get you in the studio for a proper smoke. Any
Yeah,
cool things coming up that you want to talk about before we go? Anything in the pipeline?
this year's like wide open for me, and I've been traveling so much the last 2 years that I don't really know what's in the future this year, but I'm kind of happy about
That's
that
cool
actually.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Exciting.
open for all
we shall
adventures.
see. I'll just I'll definitely put it on my Instagram or maybe my X in the
Yeah, your new
future
X
if
channel.
anything comes up.
Yeah,
Thanks
nice.
so much for having me, guys.
Yeah, no man, it's been great
No,
talking to you and
my
learning from you.
pleasure. Yeah, definitely.
And I'll put a link to your Instagram on your in the description of this, and
Yeah.
your X if you set it up. I'll add that to it too.
Yeah, jump in shadow ban.
Yeah. But
Hell
yeah,
yeah,
no, great to chat to you, and I'm sure we'll chat again sometime. Hopefully, get you over here someday.
for sure. Appreciate
Yeah,
you guys,
man.
and thanks to everyone that watched this too.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Thank you.
Bye.
Oh, he's
Yeah, that
gone.
was good.
Oh, he jumped.